What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another post game on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And tonight I'm joined by Prime Connor and our friend Braden, who for some reason his profile picture is my face. But we're here to talk about what the fuck just happened against the Cincinnati Bengals. The Kansas City Chiefs just won what I think is probably the gutsiest performance I've ever seen. I don't think that's an overreaction. Like last year's Bills game was pretty crazy, but this one felt so much more. It just felt like it was such an unlikely outcome that happened. I don't know which one of you want to take or go first. But
kind of interesting that you call it an unlikely outcome after calling the Chiefs to win all week. I didn't think this was going to happen.
I don't know if you saw on my channel when I made the video, I actually picked the Bengals to win.
I don't watch your channel.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
I just straight up don't. But yeah, I kind of assumed this was just like the kryptonite. It was just kind of like, Mahomes is Superman and he wins and does all this shit, right? But for whatever reason, everything goes wrong against Cincinnati. And I just kind of assumed it was going to be more of the same thing today. And in a lot of ways, it was.
Terry!
Yeah! What's up, my man? But yeah, we're obviously going to go. 15 sucks. We're obviously going to go into more like specifics and stuff like that, but just my basic first take is I feel like the league definitely wanted the Chiefs to win just by a couple things that kind of went our way. Even if we didn't really capitalize on it, there were a couple things that were kind of fishy, but I'm okay with it. Call it a Mickey Mouse win all you want. I don't care. What matters is we won. That's what I care about. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just so relieved. Relieved is the best word for how I feel. I think I've used that before when we talked about the Super Bowl and just the team's success as a whole, but I just feel so relieved that this demon of the Bengals has been exorcised, and now we're going to our third Super Bowl in 5 straight years. And one last thing that I want to mention before, yes, Terry, those are my teams. I'll go get my Astros World Series hat right now if you want. But yeah, I was going to say that usually I'm known for being a pessimist and all this shit, but I know this Super Bowl cannot possibly be worse than 55. There's not a scenario where it's worse than 55, so I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned the refs and the officiating, and I won't lie, it seems like the Chiefs got lucky. They were given a free down, essentially. Terry, I'm sure that reminded you of Mizzou versus Colorado in 1990. They gave KC a free down. It ultimately didn't matter because KC ended up punting. And I know Bengals fans are going to complain about the refs, especially towards the end. But I mean, there's no arguing that was a late hit on Mahomes. So thanks for the 15 yards, Cincinnati, and thank you for the AFC Championship. But Mahomes, he was 29 of 43 for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns on a bum leg. And here's all the players that went out with injury tonight on offense. McCole Hardman, Kadarius Toney, Juju Smith-Schuster. Mahomes was out there with MVS as wide receiver 1 and Marcus Kemp playing significant snaps on offense. And that's why I say this game just felt like an unlikely win, and that's why it feels so much better. Also because it was the AFC Championship compared to the divisional round last year. But, I mean, Mahomes was out there with freaking, like you said, the backyardigans as his wide receivers. And then you still had Kelsey, but of course, all the attention on the Bengals defense was going to Travis Kelsey. And the Chiefs running game also wasn't all that great tonight. Isaiah Pacheco had 10 carries for 26 yards. That's 2.6 yards per carry. The Chiefs offensive line was not really winning in the running game tonight, but Isaiah Pacheco was able to come up big, huge, really. A couple times on those dump offs from Patrick Mahomes, and he bounced a run that looked like it was over for a first down and got the Chiefs into Bengals territory late in the game. And this just felt like such a gutsy freaking performance from everybody because the Chiefs not even just on offense, Chiefs players everywhere were dropping like flies. I haven't mentioned some of the other guys on defense yet. We'll kind of talk about the offense and the defense separately. But I mean, Willie Gay went down. LeJerry Sneed went down after like the second play of the game. So the Chiefs really were against all odds tonight. And I thought for sure when they punted back to the Bengals with 2 minutes left that game was over. I mean, it just felt like the offense had so many chances and they weren't taking advantage. But the defense played with its fucking ass on fire tonight.
You want to like focus in on me for a second and I can say my piece on MVS because I know you want me to.
Yeah, so okay, I'll set the stage for that. So I mean, for those of you, I'm assuming most everyone on this channel has seen Connor before, but he has a strong hatred for MVS, but he would like to say something about MVS tonight.
Yeah, I was wrong. Like, I remember it was shortly after the Tyreek trade, and I wanted DJ Chark, and then we signed MVS to the contract that he's on, and I hated it because he did nothing in Green Bay. Like, he was just a deep threat with shitty hands, and I thought that's what we were getting, and I didn't think that's what we needed at all. And, like, throughout the majority of the season, I was pretty underwhelmed with him, but the dude was the offensive MVP by far. Like, say what you want about Mahomes, we don't win this game without MVS. Like, the dude balled single-handedly, especially when, like, Marcus Kemp and Sky Moore were the other receivers. And dude's a big-time player who made big-time plays in a big-time game. Like, that's all you can ask for with a guy, especially under the salary that he has. Like, so, yeah, good player, MVS.
Yeah, and Braden said it when we were on Discord. He earned his contract all in one game tonight. And I know a lot of Chiefs fans were talking about, oh, he might not be on this team next year. He has this really team-friendly deal where they can move on. MVS 100% deserves to be on this team next year.
Yeah, like you said, I mentioned it earlier, but it really doesn't matter how big of a contract you get if it gets you a ring. Like,
No. Don't say that because then you're going to aggravate the Clark truthers. Be very careful with what you're saying.
Fair. I mean, Clark wasn't that big of a factor in the Super Bowl.
Shut the fuck up. Just don't mention him.
Okay. But the situation that I compare it to is like, or that I really think of is comparing it to a baseball situation where Jason Hayward, was basically the sole reason that the Cubs won the World Series in 2016. And his contract was absolutely horrible. But MVS's contract looks significantly better now than it ever did in the past because 3 years, $34 million for a player that literally just brought you to the Super Bowl almost solely off of his back. Great. Like you there is no dollar amount that you can subscribe to a player bringing you to a Super Bowl.
He's kind of like the new Sammy Watkins when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. You mentioned Pacheco and how he only had 10 rushing attempts for like 26 yards, but I still felt like he showed up, especially in the passing game.
Yeah, like, he had big moments for sure.
Still making plays. But the Chiefs' run game definitely was lacking. And Mahomes, while his stat line looks pretty good, there were definitely a couple moments where it's just like, dude, come on. And you can maybe say a little bit of that was because of his ankle. But I remember it was a specific play on like 3rd and 9 where Kelsey was lined up out wide and Mahomes was only looking at him the entire time. Yeah. And happy feet and was just stepping up in the pocket. And MVS, Mahomes made a great throw on that touchdown to him, but the catch by MVS, like him just readjusting and just falling down and turning back at least a little bit to get past Hilton was a great play.
Yeah, and the last time the Chiefs played the Bengals in the regular season, MVS was actually one of their better players in that game. He was able to beat the Bengals DBs over the top a couple times, and I figured they would go back to trying that tonight. And what do you know? It worked. He had 6 catches for 116 yards and a touchdown. He also averaged damn near 20 yards per catch, which is pretty crazy, but that's always kind of been his thing. And then you mentioned like Patrick Mahomes definitely zeroed in on Travis Kelce late in the game, and the Chiefs offense just kind of stalled. They were given so many opportunities, and it's like, all you need is a touchdown to close out this game. Like, are you going to get it? And they just refused to get it. And the Chiefs offense
after the touchdown that the Bengals got at the beginning of the fourth quarter, nobody scored until that last field goal. Like,
yeah, and it felt like when it was 20-13 and the Chiefs had the ball, It felt like if they scored one more time, it was going to be over. And then Patrick Mahomes freaking fumbles the ball while trying to throw a pass. And it's like the most Chiefs thing ever to happen against the Bengals. And the Bengals scored after that. And you thought, oh, shit, this is where it ends. But somehow they fought back. But we got to talk about Andy Reid's play calling after the Jalen Watson interception. If the Chiefs had lost, that would have been one of the biggest talking points coming out of this game. To not run the ball a single time after the Jalen Watson interception. Because look, even if you're not going to score because the Chiefs didn't get any points off that, even if you're not going to score, at least run the clock out a little bit. Because after that, the Chiefs gave the ball back to the Bengals and they kicked a field goal before halftime, thus closing the gap a little bit before the second half. And it was just criminal not to run the ball there. And Isaiah Pacheco only had 3 carries in the first half.
Unless Connor has anything he wants to add.
I was going to say my other note on offense is that just in the second half, they just completely stalled. They had the 1 touchdown. I think it was the third quarter. And then after that, it was
the last
basically nothing. Yeah. And then the last drive.
The Sky Moore return.
Yeah, and my God, when I saw Sky Moore back there punt returning, I was about to throw up, dude. I was like, Tobe, no way you're trying this again. No way you're trying this in the biggest moment
the
of the
Chiefs
season.
Just not that smart.
Oh no!
I would love to see the enemy go to another team and call plays, and it would just be a disaster. Because there is a reason he has not gotten hired. And Spags. Like I just look at.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to cut you off. I wrote down Spags masterclass tonight. This defense played way above its potential tonight, in my opinion.
Okay,
but the third and forever plays that the Bengals were converting, like on that 4th and 6 where they just chucked it up to Jamar Chase. It's like, how the fuck do you not stop that?
Yeah.
I mean, and the fact that the Bengals were even confident attempting that says, I think, a little bit about your defense.
What about like the 4th and 7?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, where they chucked it up to Jamar Chase in double coverage. And it's like, how?
All right, I'm going to break this down. I don't think that this was because of Spags. I think that a lot of the players really showed up today, especially the rookies, Joshua Williams and Jalen Watson, both having
Connor's favorite.
Yes. Connor's narratives kind of, a couple of them got destroyed today, but
like 1,
2,
3. Frank Clark, playoff shark.
Shut up, Josh.
But I don't think that it was really Spags' play calling per se, because the Bengals' offensive play calling was horrific. It was like 3rd and 3, and then they threw 2 deep balls. Or 2nd and 3, and then they threw 2 deep balls in a row sometime in the 4th quarter. And I was sitting there, I'm like, why are you throwing 20 yards down the field? You only need 3 yards and you're on like the 45. And it was infuriating. And I think it was when they were tied 20-20. It made 0 sense. And I think that the second one ended up being the interception, but they just constantly went for deep balls for no reason. And obviously the Chiefs were able to stop it. But then you have plays like 3rd and 16 on when the Bengals were on their own 7, basically. And you have the Chiefs just playing the stupidest zone coverage ever, just soft zone coverage. Don't let up any big plays over the middle of the field. And then you just leave the sidelines wide open, and Trent McDuffie gets confused and covers the middle a little bit, and it allows Hayden Hurst to get open, and then he gets the first down, and then everybody thinks that the Chiefs are fucked because the Bengals get closer to field goal range. And there were a couple times where that happened, and it's just like, Spags, what the hell are you doing? Because that isn't good play calling, and any offense in the NFL is going to take advantage of that. And they have done it all year, and they never seem to learn, but they keep winning. So I guess it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah, and before all those big plays, like the 3rd and 16 and the 3rd and forevers, and that's where I agree. Like those, for some reason, have always been a problem for Kansas City. Like these teams just so easily, and they have no fear of going for long balls on 3rd and long. because they know that they can get in on the Chiefs defense because that's the way their defense kind of plays. But even before all these like third downs, Tony Romo was like, oh, is he going to send pressure? Is he going to send pressure? Because Spags is notorious for sending an ungodly amount of pressure on third down and sacrificing coverage to try and, blitz Joe Burrow. And that was always stupid. Like last year against the Bengals in the regular season, the Bengals converted a 3rd and 27. Charvarius Ward was in single coverage on Jamar Chase, and the Chiefs went all out blitz, and that pretty much lost the game. Like, how do you give up a 3rd and 27? But
playing zone coverage at any point in any game is just accepting that you're going to let up a catch some way or another. Like, there's never going to be a time where you're playing zone coverage and you're not going to let up a catch or get an interception.
Yeah, and there's been – yeah, and that's why I've said before this game, like the Chiefs, I want them to play man coverage because a lot of teams that play the Bengals, they like to play the zone coverage because they're afraid of getting beat deep, which is understandable because like the Bengals have really good weapons. But I'm not a fan of just giving teams all these yards that they need. Like we think the Chiefs have a pretty good defensive back group when they're fully healthy, of course.
Not very deep, but pretty good.
No, yeah. But, I trust those guys to man up against the Bengals receivers. And if something happens like the T. Higgins touchdown where he just like there was nothing you could do there, okay, I can live with that. But don't give them free yards.
Yeah, like just let them beat you. Don't beat yourself. Like if you play scared and you're just like, oh, let's not get beat, then you're going to lose. And the Chiefs were obviously lucky to get away with this game, but they're scared to play man coverage, and fully understandable. Like there's not really a corner in the league where I just be like, hey, go shadow and cover Jamar Chase all game. Don't let him get any catches. Good luck, because that's going to be a fucking nightmare. Like there's going to be very few corners in the league that can do that. But you can still, the Chiefs have decent enough safeties with Reed, and Thornhill is all right. But Reed especially, like you have people that can play back, and if the corners do get beat, there are still safeties back there. And it's not like you're rarely going to put safeties in man coverage. So having like just cover 2 drop back zones,
yeah. And I'll give Spags a little bit of slack because these were a lot. They had 4 rookies in the secondary tonight.
One of them was really bad.
Yeah, Brian Cook, Joshua Williams, Jalen Watson, and who am I forgetting? McDuffie. Yeah. So that's McDuffie. Okay. McDuffie, he had a rough night and he slipped a few times, but he had a couple huge plays. He had the one tipped pass on I forget when in the game it was, but it was a pass intended for Higgins, I think, and he tipped the pass and it was incomplete. It was on a 3rd down. I think it forced the Bengals. I think that was actually the one where it was at the end of the 3rd quarter, I think, and the Bengals proceeded to go for it on 4th down. That might have been the same drive. But and then he had the almost interception on Joe Burrow on the first defensive stand of the game. So he had a couple good plays tonight, but he was slipping a lot and giving up some catches to the Bengals. But it's fine. We won. I'm not going to complain too much. And hopefully Snead is healthy by the time the Super Bowl rolls around.
Oh, we're going to need him.
Yeah.
There's no way that the Chiefs can beat the Eagles.
The matchup doesn't get any easier. Like the Bengals have a really deep offensive receiving core. It does not get any easier against Philadelphia.
No. I think it gets significantly harder.
I wouldn't say it gets harder because like the Bengals have 3 wide receiver ones, the Eagles have 2. And
I would call Tyler Boyd a wide receiver 1.
The issue that you're going to face with the Eagles is just like anytime the Chiefs face a big receiver, just any physical receiver, as long as I can remember, we've always had small corners. And never have I gone into a game against a big physical receiver and felt good about it. That's why we saw like washed up Gronk still ball out on us in the Super Bowl, because there's just no good matchup there. So I'm really worried about like who's going to cover AJ Brown. I feel like a Duffy or a Snead or a Jalen Watson or something can do good enough against Devontae. Devontae is a really good receiver, but he's just a good route runner, and I think we have the type of corners to cover that. I don't know who's going to match up with AJ Brown, and I feel like Dallas Goedert's probably going to get us a bit over the middle. Just
I
because
feel like
Yeah, speaking of like tight ends and over the middle, and I just said it, but Nick Bolton, like I love
he was
him
bad tonight.
to Mizzou. He was not good today. There was that one Burrow run where he just broke his ankles, and there was a couple other times where he just looked slow and
He
just
looked scared to hit.
Yeah, he just wasn't getting to the ball that quick. And
Which
you do
he
that
was
against Dallas Goedert, who is, I'd say, significantly better than Hayden Hurst. The Chiefs are like, they're not going to have any defensive answers in the Super Bowl.
Well, you also have to consider the fact that Jalen Hurts is going to run the ball a lot, so you're going to need a running back over the middle who's going to want to hit the quarterback so that Jalen maybe thinks twice about scrambling with it again.
Well, it's worth noting that Nick Bolton was on the injury report. He was a limited participant the last day of practice this week, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but seeing him basically being afraid to hit was kind of odd because Nick Bolton has always been a big hitter type of guy.
He was very timid on the field.
Yeah, and I don't know if the injury had anything to do with it, but it might be worth noting.
I bet it did, but his play was not up to what it usually is, for sure.
I subscribe to the philosophy of if you're on the field, you're 100%. So like if he was dinged up that bad to the point where he was scared to make contact, he shouldn't have been out there. Like,
that's fair.
I would have rather had a Darius Harris out there than a Nick Bolton who's scared to make contact. Or Leo Chenal, he's not scared of contact.
No, definitely not. I'm going to focus in more on the defense. It was really they're the star of this game, the defense in general. But is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about on offense? I mean, I feel like the story with them mostly is just, gutsy performance. You were down
1 yard.
MVS was your wide receiver one night. Travis Kelce, the defense really focused in on him. He was able to do a couple nice things though. And the offense, they stalled in the second half. Everything came hard for them tonight. Nothing came easy. Red zone wasn't great. Also, the short yardage situations with this team.
That's what I was going to talk about.
Yeah, they continue to just be a huge issue. Like they just for the life of them, they could not get a yard. Like they turn into the Houston Texans on 3rd and 1.
The solution is so simple. Like if you listen to the New Heights podcast, you know that both Kelce brothers subscribe to the 92% of the time it works 100% of the time philosophy. Travis Kelce was a high school quarterback. Travis Kelce has always wanted to be an NFL quarterback. Just have him be the quarterback on QB sneaks. Motion Mahomes out at receiver and just have him chill out there and put 87 under center and sneak it. It is going to work better than whatever crap Andy has cooking up for those situations. It's how the Eagles got this far. We're playing the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and it's because they do this. Like
they just run QB sneaks like
every short yardage situation.
Yeah, anytime it's 3rd and 1, it's always Jalen Hurts with 2 guys right behind him.
And you know what happens if they don't get it? They run it again.
Mm-hmm. Because it's going to work at least for sure 50% of the time.
92% of the time, it works every time.
And with Mahomes' injury, like I can understand not wanting to run a QB sneak, but at some point this team needs to get over. Yeah, sure. Why not? But I'm saying like at some point this team needs to stop being afraid to run QB sneaks with Mahomes because of that freak injury a few years ago.
Well, you remember the time they motioned Blake Bell in and he went under center and did it? Like, I know Blake Bell's hurt, but Travis could do that. I think Noah Gray did it before. Like, you have people that can do it. Just do it. Like, honestly, it kind of makes me miss Anthony Sherman because I remember him getting it a few times in these situations. Michael Burton really hasn't done anything in the offense this year.
Well, and Michael Burton, they've used him in short yardage too, but like the inside handoff to Michael Burton has not worked a single time this year. And I almost feel like the short yardage, I think I
heard the broadcast say that on short yardage they're like 31st in the league. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's bad. And their offense, like I feel like it's become too predictable in those short yardage situations because when you think of short yardage with this team, it's inside handoff or like a shovel pass. They do that every single freaking time, and it's
like
okay,
a receiver motion.
Yeah, that too. And it's like the shovel pass has been figured out a little bit. Like you got to do something else.
Yeah, that was like new in 2018.
Like the shovel pass was really added the first time that the Chiefs and the Eagles faced each other.
or not the first time, but 2017 when Mahomes did it to Kelsey on like 3rd and 12, and then Kelsey scored a touchdown. I remember that being like one of the first times. So it's like, holy shit, Mahomes just flicked it to Kelsey.
Yeah. So short yardage offense has got to get figured out.
One thing that I want to point out is like, isn't it wild how this team is in the Super Bowl, right? They won the Super Bowl a few years ago, but they are still one of the worst teams in the league when it comes to desirable situations. Like
situational football, they suck.
Like situational football, when they need to get 1 yard or they need to prevent their opponent from getting 20, they are the worst in the league in those situations. Like, it's bizarre how they can go to the Super Bowl when they are horrific, when they need to – when it's 3rd and 27, you know they're going to get it. Like, we are much better when it's 3rd and 7 than 3rd and 27, and we're a lot better when we need to pick up 15 yards than 1.
That's why I said earlier this week when I was making some of my preview videos, I'm like, the Chiefs on 3rd and short should just take an intentional delay of game or intentional false start. Literally, it would be better for them.
It's a higher percentage play.
And also, there was like a 3rd and 2 or a 3rd and 1 tonight where like Ronald Jones got a random carry and it was his only carry of the game. Like, what was that?
Like, I got pissed because like they motioned him in and then like everyone was out on the left. There was nobody out to the right, but follow your blockers, and it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
What was that?
And it's just like, you know what, Ronald Jones, I don't think you're going to play much tonight. You want to just come in on 3rd down right here? Like,
yeah, we don't know what the hell else to do on 3rd and 1. Just send in a running back that we have on the roster who's pretty good, but we're just never going to use.
At least 25 didn't play. True. Hallelujah. Clyde is probably never going to play for this team again. Fingers crossed. You know what? I blame him for losing the AFC Championship last year because like he killed the drive every time he got the ball. So yeah, that's why we won. That's why we're going to the Super Bowl.
Play calling where they just fucking run Clyde straight up the middle on 2nd and 10.
Yeah.
I mean, he does that with every running back.
True. But every other back is at least fast and not a midget, and they get yards.
Yeah, every other running back, like, I've only ever seen one running back fail in an Andy Reid offense, and it's their 1st-round pick poster boy.
Yeah, because we love Jonathan Taylor.
McKinnon did not play well today.
No, he didn't. But I will say about McKinnon, the reason he plays so much, especially on 3rd down, is because he's basically like having another offensive lineman back there. His pass blocking is really good. And with Mahomes' injury, you definitely needed that.
Yeah, but I mean, just like anytime you got the ball.
Too much noticeable pressure, I'd say.
Yeah. The only times where Mahomes was really in trouble was plays where he kind of held the ball too long.
Yeah. Like he likes to step up in the pocket a lot and move around, but there's never really any time where it's just like, oh, the Bengals are there immediately.
Yeah. I also want to point out this comment from Slim is Chillin'. He says Burrow threw 2 interceptions, and this is really important because, well, obviously because they were game-changing plays, but also I said that whoever wins the turnover battle in this one is probably going to win. Patrick Mahomes had the fumble. That was bad, but Joe Burrow threw 2 interceptions, so ultimately the Chiefs won the turnover battle. And
I think you can go ahead and bump that up to 3 interceptions because throwing a pick to Joshua Williams should count as 2.
Yeah. Okay, that play is fully on Brian Cook. Like Williams was just there.
Still had to catch it, which was pretty surprising.
And I mean, I'm fairly confident in saying as well that even if that wasn't intercepted, that the Bengals were going to punt. So
yeah, it was just an arm punt. But
basically, but yeah, that's all I got on the offense. So I'm ready to talk about the defense because specifically
we were just talking about the secondary, Josh.
Well, yeah, I know, but
talking about the defense the majority of the time.
Great transition, just A+ podcasting, buddy.
More specifically, the defensive line, because then this is the reason I have Chris Jones in the thumbnail.
The shark.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm talking about Chris Jones, Braden. Shut up. Chris Jones was fucking dominant tonight. And for all the Chiefs fans that talk about, playoff sacks, Chris Jones doesn't have a playoff sack, he doesn't show up in the playoffs, which if you're one of those Chiefs fans saying that, you don't understand defensive line play because Chris Jones has wrecked shit in the postseason every single year.
Josh fan.
And secondly, the whole playoff sack thing was stupid, but it doesn't matter because Chris Jones went out there and had, in my opinion, one of the singular best defensive line performances in postseason history. I mean, he just play after play was eating double teams, getting through double teams, sacking Joe Burrow. He's really just, I mean, whenever I saw him in the press conference before the game this weekend say, see y'all at Burrowhead, and also when he shed a tear during the national anthem, I was like, oh, Chris Jones is going the fuck off tonight. And that's exactly what he did.
I think he did like in the fourth quarter too. Like he was
not going to lose that game. He's the MVP of this game.
It was some point in the fourth quarter. I remember the camera cutting to him real quick and he was crying. And honestly, just his performance today reminded me of the last playoff game Joe Burrow lost, where Aaron Donald just basically said, nah, motherfucker, you're not going to win this game. And Aaron Donald just destroyed that game and should have won Super Bowl MVP, in my opinion. And I think that Chris Jones was the same way, where he's just like, nah, you're not going to do this. And
I mean, you have to think about last year. Chris Jones basically had Joe Burrow in his grasp and somehow lost him. It was a 3rd and 7. And if Chris Jones brings him down, the Chiefs probably win that game. That was probably on his mind for the past 365 days. Or I know this game didn't fall on the exact day as last year, but you get my point.
Yeah.
So
Chris Jones is anyone who wants to trade Chris Jones is just a fucking idiot. Like
Chris Jones, okay. This defense would be awful without Chris Jones. This pass rush would be awful without Chris Jones. I don't know. People that want to trade Chris Jones, like, explain to me your rationale, please.
Speaking of the D-line, yeah, we can sit here and suck Chris Jones off all day, but I want to give props to Mike Dana. When we drafted Mike Dana, I was like, whatever, just bum Michigan D-lineman. But he has been a pleasant surprise, like, his entire career. I always thought that he was, like, solid. Like, I hated him coming out of the draft, but the dude's been solid, and he got a lot of pressure today. Like, one of Frank Clark's sacks should have been Dana's sack, and, like, Dana was just kind of wrecking shit all day. And so it's like props to Mike Dana, and I also want to make sure that George Karlaftis gets his flowers for sacking Burrow once. And Dunlap didn't get a sack, but Dunlap was bringing in pressure.
Dunlap was very noticeable.
Yeah,
so was Colin Saunders. Colin Saunders too. Colin Saunders almost sacked him one time, and he was getting pressures. Everyone on the D-line stepped up tonight. Like, I don't have a complaint about.
Can you highlight Eric's comment?
The most recent one?
Yeah.
That one?
Yeah. That's the Eric we know, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's Eric.
The Eric Siakam robbed.
Yep. But, man, yeah, I mean, the entire defensive line. Jones, Clark the Shark, he smelled blood in the water.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
You have to admit, he smelled blood in the water tonight.
No, he didn't.
He also had another epic post.
First one was Mike Dana. Second one was Willie Gay. I am not praising this motherfucker. I'm not doing it.
He had a good game.
No, I'm not doing it.
He had a good game.
If we're being real, even though he had 2 sacks, both of them were because of other players. Like
Willie Gay had a sack.
Oh, shocker! Did you watch any game from the 2019 playoff run? That was all it was.
Well, the only thing from the 2019 playoff run was fucking garbage time coverage sacks, where the play was like 20 fucking seconds long.
Yeah. Like he was.
These were just he was in the right place at the right time.
Kind of like that's what the Garoppolo one was in the Super Bowl. Chris Jones completely blew up the play, and Clark just wrapped him up from behind.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
God, that also Clark tries to run around the.
That also happened last game. That happened last game against Jacksonville too on Clark's sack against the Jaguars. He got that because Chris Jones pushed the guard all the way back to where Trevor Lawrence had to step up in the pocket. He had no other choice, and he just happened to meet Frank Clark right there. I mean, Chris Jones is the reason. Chris Jones is what makes this defensive line go. If Chris Jones is not on his game, you're not getting anything from this defensive line.
And that's scary, especially against the Eagles interior. Granted, Landon Dickerson, I haven't seen anything since, but I know that he went out of the game and he looked like he was in pain with I think it was his left elbow.
Yeah.
But Jones, I think that probably the most underrated and one of the more crucial matchups is Chris Jones versus Jason Kelce.
I think Chris wins that.
I hope so.
Kelce's so fucking good.
He is. I mean, this Super Bowl is honestly a wet dream for people who watch Lion film because you got Chris Jones or interior lineman, I should say, because it's Chris Jones versus Jason Kelce, and then you have just the myriad of great Eagles interior linemen with Jordan Davis, Javon Hargrave, Fletcher Cox, and Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph going up against Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, and Joe Tooney. Like, if you like watching football in the trenches, this is the Super Bowl for you.
Yeah.
It's the Kelce Bowl.
Yeah, I guess I feel like mentioning that the Kelce family is rooting for the Eagles in this one. At least Donna Kelce is.
She's probably gonna wear that one jersey she has of both the sons, and it's like half and half.
Yeah,
but I gotta say though, we talked about this before we went live, but I'm just really happy for all the guys that the Chiefs brought in this offseason, guys like Dunlap, MVS, Juju, who have been in the league for some time, especially Dunlap, like you pointed that out, Connor. Like Dunlap's been in this league for a really long time and hasn't really experienced this kind of success. And it's just so cool that the Chiefs can offer this opportunity to guys like that. Especially, Dunlap, he's been in this league for so long. He played for the Bengals, never did anything there, went to the Seahawks, and that was kind of garbage.
He was part of the Marvin Lewis era. He just went to the playoffs every year and lost.
Yeah, and so he really deserves this, and it's so cool. And we also got to point out that the AFC pretty much loaded up to beat the Chiefs this offseason. At the beginning of the season, I know some people get lost in all this like underdog stuff, trying to make themselves the underdog and make the Chiefs the underdog, but really, like, it felt like everyone this past offseason was picking anyone but the Chiefs to win the AFC, and all these other teams made these massive moves, and the Chiefs still went out and they're in the Super Bowl.
I think you're forgetting a crucial player like Melvin Gordon is going to the Super Bowl. If you were to tell me that Melvin Gordon was going to the Super Bowl at the start of this season,
Josh, I'd like to back it up a minute. You said that Carlos Dunlap in Seattle went horribly. He was our
they didn't do anything.
Being a Seahawks fan, he was our entire pass rush in 2020.
Oh, I know he was, but
once we got him, he was the only reason that we beat the Cardinals. I think it was on Thursday night, on a Thursday night game, because he just sacked Kyler Murray and was in his face the entire damn game. And
isn't it kind of sad that since Carlos Dunlap and Ken Norton have left, your defense has declined?
Why are we talking about the Seahawks, Josh? We're going to the Super Bowl.
How about we talk about some Mizzou basketball?
No, we're going to the Super Bowl. What?
I do want to shout out Harrison Butker too, though, because in the middle of the season, like I was done with his ass. I'm not even gonna lie, I was. But he made one of the biggest kicks in franchise history tonight.
It was a 45-yarder,
Josh. He's missed worse.
I don't know if he's really earning praise. He's doing his job. The expectation was that he'd make that kick. Like, it wasn't like a 61-yarder like Greg Joseph against the Giants this year.
But I would be lying if I didn't say that I ran and hid under my sink in the bathroom.
Why do you always hide under your sink in big moments? Like, I remember you spent the entirety of 54 under your sink. Like,
I did.
I will give props to Zach Taylor for not icing Butker, because I think we've come to realize that icing usually never works. So
Chiefs lost games because of that.
Yeah. Good.
Sometimes you do it.
I don't think that Zach Taylor called a particularly good offensive game plan, especially for how many fucking deep balls they threw up. But I will award him good job for not icing Butker, even though it didn't work. I like that.
Sometimes you do it just because it's your only shot and you're pretty much going to lose, but it definitely has backfired before too, where sometimes these coaches call timeouts and they miss.
And that happens more often than icing actually working.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Didn't Georgia win because they iced the Ohio State kicker?
I don't remember if they did.
They missed. He missed both of them, if I remember.
But college kickers are just
college.
They're a mixed bag.
NFL. It's
Josh. Do you remember that cold ass game that we had against the Titans? It was before they changed their uniform. Marcus Mariota was the quarterback, and Ryan Suckup was the kicker at the time.
Yes,
and
that was one of those. That was one of the annual Andy Reid letdown games.
I remember like I had season tickets at the time, and that it was just too cold, and like that was one of the few games that I didn't go to that was at home. And Suck Up doesn't miss 2 in a row, and the fact that he iced him was just really fucking stupid.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a tough loss. Was that the same year we lost to the Buccaneers too?
Yes,
Like,
I was
they were
at that
horrible?
one.
Yeah,
I was thinking
God.
about that game the other day. I know you say I forget games every year, but I
You
remember
do.
that one. I remember that one very well. I was thinking about it when I was, for whatever reason, I thought about it at the gym the other day.
It's
But
kind of
yeah.
a shame. It's kind of a shame, Connor, that we could win the Super Bowl this year, and there's a 50% chance you forget about it.
I'm not going to forget the Super Bowl. Do I remember? Do I remember play by play what happened in '55? No, I don't, because I've repressed most of that. But I don't know. '54, I'll never forget. So, shit, is this '57?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, '57.
So what, the Chiefs have been in 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls?
Yeah. Yeah.
54. Huh. That's weird.
Yeah, that is. It doesn't feel like they've been.
No. God, that's weird.
It feels
I
like
think
there was
like all of us have suppressed 55 that much from
It
our
feels like there was so much.
55 was the last Jedi of Super Bowls. Like, I refuse to admit it happened.
It just feels like there was such a large gap between them losing Super Bowl 55 and them making this. Super Bowl. Some of that was probably due to COVID too. Like that COVID season was just all kinds of. It is still bullshit that Tampa Bay basically got a home game for the Super Bowl.
Everything about that season was bullshit. Like,
yeah.
Running it back doesn't work. Oh, and I think losing the 53 AFC Championship probably hurts that a little bit more, because I think we kind of hang on that one a little bit just because the game ended up being so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel that way about last year. Like, and some people say, oh well, if the Chiefs win the next Super Bowl or next 5 Super Bowls, that you won't care as much about that. I'm sorry, no matter what happens, I'm still gonna wonder what the fuck could have happened if we had just not collapsed against the Bengals in 2021, and if we got the ball in overtime against the Patriots in 2018. Like, I'm always gonna wonder what could have happened.
The best thing I can say is, like, I still see Patriots fans complaining about the helmet catch and, like, I think one of the losses against the Ravens and stuff like that. Like, if the Patriots are still complaining, then, like, yeah, we have every right to. And especially with the fact that that piece of shit has 7 and we're trying to have Mahomes catch him, we need to win it every damn year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's,
I think if Mahomes can get within 5, like if Mahomes gets 5 Super Bowls in his career, I think you can start making the argument because of how bullshit some of Brady's stats are.
I'm gonna Braden, you pointed out the AFC Championship touchdown. Like,
yes, they showed that graphic and I texted both of you. I'm like, this is fucking laughable. Mahomes has 14 touchdown passes in 5 games, in 5 conference championship games, and Brady has 21 in fucking 14. Mahomes has 7 less touchdowns in 9 less games. That is insane.
I want Mahomes to go down as the best quarterback of all time, not because I'm a Chiefs fan. It really helps that he's on the Chiefs, but just so people stop talking about that motherfucker.
I find it so weird how Patriots fans still like cling on to Tom Brady as if he's still on their team. Like they're basically just.
You already have a top 100 quarterback. Move on.
Well, no, they don't. But I sent you that debate today. I don't know if you looked at it, but some Tom Brady / Patriots fan was trying to say that Brady deserved the MVP because he had not as good as stats as Mahomes and far more attempts.
So bad.
That like
it's more impressive to score on 10 plays than 2.
Yeah, no, we're praising Tom Brady for being the far less efficient quarterback, and also we're talking about a guy that had a losing record and accumulated most of his stats in games where the Bucs were getting blown out. Okay, that's not impressive.
Like, congratulations, you were throwing 60 passes a game when you were down fucking 20, and you were throwing screens and checkdowns because you're a little bitch.
I remember like last year because he led the league in yards and touchdowns last year, and everyone was arguing MVP between him and Rodgers, but Rodgers' efficiency stats just kicked his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like, congrats, the Bucs have no run game. Ooh.
Yeah, and then they're gonna fire Byron Leftwich for that.
Uh-huh.
It was
Please
like,
hire Bieniemy Tampa, please.
this guy was saying that
Fuck,
Tom
bring in
Brady.
Leftwich as Mahomes' QB coach and
Done.
make Nagy the OC.
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Like Leftwich was like, that is such a fucking scapegoat for Brady playing like absolute dog shit all year. Like, if you have 3 or 4 games go differently, the Bucks were like 5-12.
Yeah, I'd welcome Byron Leftwich to Kansas City. I like
people
Byron
were
Leftwich.
actually Patriots / Brady fans were actually arguing that a guy with a losing record should win MVP. Like I can't even fathom that. But we're way off topic at this point. Bottom line,
Bottom line,
Chiefs are-
fuck Tom Brady, no matter the circumstances.
and the Chiefs are going to the freaking Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like
Mahomes needs to close that gap.
he does, but I can't believe I still can't believe that the Chiefs actually pulled this off. Like Eric said earlier in the chat, I'm not going to go back and find it, but he said that he thought we lost like 4 different times.
Oh yeah, I did too.
I thought at the beginning of the fourth quarter after the Joshua Williams pick, I'm like, this team wants to win. At least the defense for sure did. Like, every single player on the defense, I'm like, they want this.
They got that dog in them.
Yes. Like, they just so clearly wanted to win that game.
Especially Chris Jones.
Yes.
Oh yeah, this was the Chris Jones legacy game.
Mhm.
This was
Offense, not so much, but for sure on the defense, I'm like, they really want to win this, and I think that they just have the drive in them to do it, which is kind of scary for the Super Bowl because I don't know if they're going to come out with that same fire. I hope that they do, and I think that they will probably come out still pretty hungry, but I think that a lot of the Chiefs' energy went into like finally beating the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know how the Super Bowl is going to go. I assume that we're going to win because, like, yes, the Eagles have a lot of guys on the team that have won it, but it's a new coaching staff, and I don't trust Sirianni in the Super Bowl, and I'd say I don't trust Reid in the Super Bowl, but he's already won it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think, like, we were talking before we got on, like, a big reason that the Eagles won it last time was Dougie P. And I don't know if Sirianni comes in with the same energy as that.
Yeah,
and
we were talking about that, and it's just like, can you really imagine Sirianni and Jalen Hurts holding up a Lombardi trophy?
Before every Super Bowl or really any championship period, I always watch the celebrations just to see like who's partying harder, who thinks that they already won it, right? Before they go in and play for it. And like the Chiefs kind of celebrated as like a fuck you Bengals type thing.
Yeah.
But the like Eagles were like smoking cigars and like really like partying it up and like singing Fly Eagles Fly and all that. And I feel like if we're gonna play that game, then I feel like the Chiefs probably have the advantage, especially because the Chiefs have.
You muted yourself.
I didn't. My mic keeps getting unplugged for some reason. That's why you've seen me mess with my shit a couple.
There it goes again. Yeah, I did it again.
Yeah.
Dude's talking, but we can't hear anything. I'll just give him a second. Oh, I think you're back. Yep.
Okay.
Right.
But yeah, what I was saying is the Chiefs have been here and lost before. They know that the job's not done yet. The Eagles have like vocal leaders like Jason Kelsey, Brandon Graham, and Fletcher Cox that have been here and know that the job isn't done yet. But with guys like Jalen and Sirianni specifically, I don't know if that same leadership and that same underdog fighting mentality is there from that.
Especially when like the teams that they've played and the situations they've been put in through the playoffs is just kind of like, eh.
They routed both the teams they played.
Well, yeah, but it's the fucking rebuilding Giants who like insanely overachieved this year, and then the Niners who were playing Josh Johnson for the majority of the game, and Brock Purdy literally couldn't fucking throw.
Yeah, that's kind of the point I was making though, because like
Mickey Mouse path.
The Chiefs had to fight the Bengals to win this. The Eagles just kind of waltzed their way to the Super Bowl. Like they played some good games in the regular season, but it's been a while since we've seen like
The Eagles haven't had to play like a good team
They had the 28th
besides the
ranked.
Cowboys.
They had the 28th ranked strength of schedule this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they put up points on the Niners, which, Niners have the best defense in the league. That's an
It's
achievement.
like still the situations that they got those points in is just like, okay,
Niners turnovers.
I remember one of the touchdowns was within a minute of the second quarter, or before the second half, and they got it off of a Niners turnover. It's like, ooh, like you scored on a fucking 10-yard drive. You're Tom Brady. Congrats.
Right. And I'd like, as much as I like dog on the Chiefs and stuff like that, they're the best team that the Eagles have played this year.
For sure.
Because you have to remember too, the Chiefs absolutely ran the Niners earlier this year, and that's when they were at full strength and they had Jimmy G.
I think the Niners were starting to like get pretty hurt then, but yeah.
And that was before they got McCaffrey. Well, no, they actually.
No, that was
the first game.
Yeah,
but he hadn't even practiced with them yet.
That was the last game that they won or that they lost before the NFC Championship, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So honestly, I'm known for being like the pessimistic guy, but I'm honestly feeling pretty good going into the Super Bowl. I'm concerned with how we're going to stop the Eagles' run game because, the Chiefs' notoriously poor run defense. It's how it's been as long as I can remember. But like, I kind of view it a lot like the matchup for 54, because with 54, I really didn't know what to pick because, the Niners had the fearsome foursome at the time. And then the offense was just bullshit end arounds to Deebo Samuel and Raheem Mostert. That was his year. And so in a way, it's kind of the same where you have an elite pass rush and then you have an elite running offense, but I think the Eagles can pass the ball a lot better than that Niners team did. And I think that their secondary is a lot better than what the Niners secondary was at the time, even with Richard Sherman still having his last good year. But I also feel like it feels weird to say that this Chiefs team is better than that one, but I think it kind of is.
It is.
Like, losing Tyreek obviously hurts, but this defense is a lot better than that 2019 defense.
Yeah.
And
that 2019 defense.
Like the 2019 Chiefs secondary was atrocious.
Oh, it was not good.
And that run defense, they couldn't stop anybody for shit. This run defense has made massive strides this year. They were, I had it in my notes the other day, they were like 7th in the league in stopping the run this year.
Our offensive line is way better too.
Yeah. Granted, Orlando Brown wasn't bad today.
No.
He was terrible against Jacksonville. He wasn't bad today.
Eric Fisher was our left tackle for the Super Bowl. Austin
Cam Irving.
Well, like Cam Irving played in the Super Bowl. Like
our interior was not much better.
I mean, granted, now you have Wiley, who's fucking ass, but
Wiley,
it's better than Cam Irving.
I was gonna take Wiley's head off, bro, after tonight. He pissed me off, especially with the dumb penalties.
We need new tackles next year.
Yeah, but our interior that Super Bowl, that was like LDT, Austin Ryder, and
Steven Wisniewski started that game.
Yeah. So
didn't Schwartz start in the night? Yeah, Schwartz.
Yeah, Schwartz was the line went Fisher,
Wisniewski, Ryder, LDT, Schwartz.
Was LDT healthy?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was LDT and then Schwartz. I remember Wisniewski started over Ryder. I couldn't remember which guard spot it was, but I remember I was really happy to see Wisniewski starting over Ryder for the Super Bowl. And, that was something we obviously needed.
I mean, in the Chiefs interior of Tooney, Humphrey, and Trey Smith. Yeah, like that is so much better. That is
especially when that's the strength of, like, that's an Eagle strength.
Yeah, like their interior pass rush with Fletcher Cox and Vernon Hargrave.
Remember that Monday night game we watched at Hooters where
yes,
that's how the Redskins beat them, was just beating them up the middle. And we can do that. If that's the game we have to play, we can do that because Creed Humphrey is the best center in the league. Joe Tooney is a Super Bowl veteran who's been
he's an all-pro this year.
Yeah, and then Trey Smith isn't bad at all. Like that's the best interior line we have in the league and probably one of the best interior lines ever. So if that's the game we have to play, granted, running the ball up the middle today against Cincy didn't really work, but
You're
That
like
I will give
Mahomes is
Cincy
going to be
credit
able to
though.
step up in the pocket.
I'll give Cincy credit though, especially DJ Reader, their
DJ
defensive
Reader's
tackle.
really good.
He's a beast at stopping
Yeah.
the run. I also want to shout out this comment real quick. Kane Wright says, "What's up? Watch the game all the way from Thailand. Let's go." I just think it's cool when I get people from other countries watching my channel. So hope you had fun watching the game. We're going to the Super Bowl.
Did you
Can
see
you
Cliff in
highlight Eric's
Thailand?
comment? Can you highlight Eric's comment? Thank you.
Yes.
Hooters is for frauds.
You're not an alpha male, Josh.
Nope. Josh, you didn't go to the Oak Park Mall and walk around the Lego store and then go to Hooters after.
That
was a great day.
Oh, goodness.
Josh
You were
doesn't
too busy
participate in
stuck in the
friendship
military.
activities anymore.
Mm-hmm. You didn't go to Buffalo Wild Wings and play trivia.
I don't think the
movies.
general public is aware of the dynamic of this friend group.
Why would they be?
I don't know, but I just think it should be public knowledge about how this works.
Well, anyway, I think we're getting a little off topic. So,
Josh,
almost
you
at an
didn't
hour.
participate in family game night.
I'm participating in friendship activities right now.
No, you asked us to do you a favor, and we're here.
Oh, so it's a favor to be on the podcast
Yes,
and get exposed.
it is.
All right, whatever you say. But is there anything else we need to talk about, though, in all honesty?
Fuck Dave Tobe.
Yes. Yeah,
Dave Tobe.
walking up to the reporters saying, "How about Sky? Fuck you, dude." Like, genuinely, it's so weird to be in the Super Bowl and saying, "I want all new coordinators," but I genuinely do.
He was crazy for trying that, though. I mean, it worked out, and Sky Moore had a big return at the end, but he was crazy for trying that.
Is it bold to say that we will have at least 2 new coordinators next year? Like,
I think he's gone.
I think so. I think EB is gone, but I think Andy's too loyal to Spags.
No, I don't think he's going to fire Spags, but do you remember? Have you seen all the stuff that people think Spags is going to retire?
No, I haven't.
Wouldn't be too surprised by that.
I've seen a lot of stuff about Spags retiring, and if we win the Super Bowl this year, this is what, Spags' 4th ring?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if Spags gets his 4th ring and he's already considering retiring, like, I think he's just done then.
It's possible. I would be kind of bummed because then Vic Fangio wouldn't be available anymore, and I would have loved Vic Fangio as Chiefs DC, but there's still options out there for sure. Steve Wilkes, he didn't get the Panthers.
Yes.
Right?
I'd be down. Bringing Steve Wilkes and Rich Bisaccia as our coordinators.
Rich Bisaccia needs to be a fucking head coach. Like, him
Colts hit him up.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think the Colts are going to go with Jeff Saturday. I really do.
No, why?
That's Jim Irsay's guy. Jim Irsay is a drunk.
Worth mentioning that the Eagles only beat the Colts by 1 point.
Well,
we
lost to the Colts.
Didn't the Colts beat the Niners or something?
No.
They beat the Raiders on Jeff Saturday's debut, so that was funny.
That was the only game he won.
That's going to be hilarious if they're actually going to make him the head coach. I'm going to laugh, but
dude, the optics on that would be so bad. Like,
I think the obvious choice is Matt Nagy for OC.
Yeah, Matt Nagy has to be the OC next year.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to point out this comment real quick. Ryan Murphy says Wilkes was awful at Mizzou.
Oh, God, here we go.
Okay.
Oh,
Steve Wilkes actually ended up having a good defense at Mizzou by the time the season was over.
Blake Baker's better, but
you also have to consider the talent that Steve Wilkes had was not anywhere near the talent that Mizzou had this year on defense. Secondly, Steve Wilkes, we found out very quickly that he had to adjust teaching his NFL type defense to college kids. It's a different level, and he's trying to apply his NFL style defense to the college level, and it just doesn't work like that. But Steve Wilkes has had a lot of success as an NFL defensive coordinator, and he took a Carolina Panthers team that looked like it was bound for the number 1 overall pick with Matt Rule and actually made them into a respectable opponent. So I like Steve Wilkes. I think he'd be a good defensive coordinator.
Like, there's not many cases where it's just like, oh, he's getting fucked over. But no, Steve Wilkes has gotten so fucked over in his coaching career. Like, he deserves a head coaching opportunity.
Josh, you made that. My bad.
No, I don't have anything else.
Well, I was gonna say, Josh, you made that video about black head coaches. If there's ever a coach that you could make the case for racism, it's Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Like, the dude got completely fucked over with the Cardinals, did a great job with the Panthers this year, and they went with Frank Reich. And it's like, I understand.
Which Frank Reich is a respectable head coach, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like Wilkes deserved it.
Frank Reich, Reich is so boring. He's not going to win a fucking Super Bowl there.
No, but I do understand them going with an offensive mind.
Yeah, they want a quarterback guy, and there's like the little connection there with him being the first quarterback in franchise history and all that. But
hold on. We all think Carson Wentz is going to end up a Panther next year.
No,
right?
God, no,
God.
He's not doing that. He's not doing that again. No, I'm going to say Nick Foles is the Panthers' backup next year, but Carson
Is Darnold
Wentz,
still under contract, or is he gone?
I don't think he's in the plans regardless.
Yeah, they're probably just going to cut him. He wasn't that bad this year.
Yeah,
though.
he wasn't bad outside of the final game.
Yeah,
where he put up one of the worst stat lines ever. He was like 4 for 10 for 33 yards and 2 interceptions.
He would be a good potential backup for like the Chiefs or something like that. Yeah. I'd like him in that role.
Yeah.
He's going to be like one of those higher paid backup quarterbacks for the rest of his career.
We just keep veering off the rails here. We just turn on to full.
Josh, this is a football show. We're having an insightful football conversation.
Yeah, we're having great conversations about Steve Wilkes.
The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl. Why are we talking about the Panthers?
We're talking about football. This is a football show, Josh. You were out trying to talk about Mizzou basketball. Like, we're talking about football here.
Yeah.
I still think me and Josh should do a Mizzou basketball podcast.
Maybe. I'll see.
Produce that one too.
Connor, if you produce it, I'll do it. Like, I'll hop on and I'll record.
Okay.
Why not? I am the best producer.
So, yeah, anyway, I think we're done talking football tonight. I think we're done talking Chiefs. I got one more thing I'll say, though, is, it's more of a question, actually. What were your emotions after the roughing the passer penalty on Mahomes? Like, did you think the game was pretty much won at that point?
Wasn't it an unnecessary roughness?
Yeah.
Well,
late
that's
head.
what I meant. Right. Late head out of bounds, whatever.
I thought, I'm like, oh shit. They're in field goal range. They're going to do this.
I know a lot of people are going to complain about that one, especially in the moment, because you kind of hate when the refs have to basically decide the game, but it was a textbook late hit.
I thought it was the right call, but like I said, it definitely felt like the refs were on our side, which I don't have a problem. Not going to complain about that at all. You know, there's perks to having the golden boy of the league. I had to watch this bullshit with Brady for so many years. It's nice to get it going my way, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But, guys, that's all we got for this one. So before we sign off, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Also, thank you to everyone that hopped in at some point tonight. We actually got a decent crowd tonight, which is great because I know there's a lot of other Chiefs channels out there. There's a lot of other Chiefs channels. And we compete with a lot of other Chiefs content creators.
Everyone tell Josh how much you love me.
If you do, I'll keep bringing him on.
And the great picture of him that is my profile picture.
I'm going to tweet that picture of Josh out. Next time Josh streams, I want that to be everyone's profile picture, okay? That is the greatest picture in the history of humanity. This picture right here. I'm not coordinated at all, but this picture right here of Lieutenant Josh Fan, make sure you address him as Lieutenant from here on out. Lieutenant Josh Fan from here on out, that's his name.
Yep.
And that's the picture.
Don't do that. But make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this. Make sure you check out my work on showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com. And if you want, you can go follow these two bums on Twitter.
No. Shout out my YouTube, Prime Connor. I got a very condescending comment on my recent Pac-12 realignment video. And I'm pretty proud of that one. And I'm working on a transfer portal video coming out soon. So, you know, obviously I'm the best part of the Josh Fan YouTube channel. So come check me out. I'm just lazy and don't upload.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw in too. You guys will be seeing Connor a lot more in the next several months because Battlehawks
This is news to
XFL season
me.
is coming up. You didn't think you were going to be on the Battlehawks podcast.
I was
You've
told I
already
was
done that.
banned.
No, you were banned from the Chiefs videos, but now you're back
Well, here I am.
because we're going to the
Yeah,
Super
and
Bowl.
then you'll be banned again after the fucking Super Bowl, I bet.
You will.
I'm
You
gonna
will.
get banned after the draft, probably.
Yeah, but
We need to
That's all
set
we
up
got
a
for this
fucking
one.
show me football booth at the draft.
Yes. Wait, Josh, are you coming to that?
I'm trying to. I'm planning on it.
Should we put out there that there's a chance that I attend the Super Bowl?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
I also
not
didn't think to mention the fact that I might be at the draft, so that'd be pretty cool
Yeah,
for
so,
anyone
like,
else that's going to be there.
the Show Me Football podcast is going to be on site, boy. But yeah, neither of those are for sure things by any means, but it's what, if everything goes our way, that's what's going to happen.
For sure. But yeah, we'll see you on the other side of the. Well, I mean, I'm going to do previews and stuff for the Super Bowl, but we'll see you guys on the other side of Super Bowl 57. Enjoy this win. Go Chiefs.